What's up, guys? Fuad here, back on Behind the Gloves with another interview. This time I'm joined by the one and only John Ryder. Is in the building. Well, not quite literally, but, you know, he's at home as well, being safe like the rest of us. First of all, John, I've not spoke to you since last year after your fight with Callum Smith. How have you been keeping? How's everything going for you?
Yeah, I mean, been keeping good. Obviously, was looking to get out and get another good year in 2020, but there was other plans far greater than what we had, and we were in a pandemic. But
Yeah.
It's been a good time, good constructive time with the family. But it's nice to be back in the gym and looking towards more big fights.
Have you been? Have you completely sort of stayed at home and just took this time off and regrouped yourself, or have you still been training somewhere or another? You know, some people have been training at home and stuff. What have you been doing?
No, I've been running most days, doing strength circuits indoors. Got dumbbells delivered thanks to Pyrium Fitness, and my strength conditioner Dan Lawrence had been giving me plans sent over to do and to follow. So yeah, I mean the running was on point. I bought a road bike as well, so I've been doing a bit of cycling. So kept nice and fit, kept strong. Obviously couldn't get any access to a boxing gym, but I mean what were little niggles in the arms, shoulders, hands. So it was quite nice to give them a rest and just focus on other things.
For sure, of course. I guess you won't even, you know, well, God willing, we don't get these times again. But as in, like, it could have benefited you, you know, for the future and your longevity in the sport, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I think this career is you're either in it or you're not. And I mean, we put so much into it that we miss out on a lot, especially with family and stuff. So it's been nice to get that extra bit of time at home and to see the kids grow and to spend time with each other. So yeah, I mean, we'll make the best of it.
All right, let's rewind back to last year. Obviously, that night in Liverpool, we saw a very good fight between yourself and Callum Smith. A lot of people, you know, said that you won the fight. I'm sure you believe you won the fight as well. Since that fight, what kind of sort of motivation? Because I'm sure to go into a fight of that magnitude for the world title and come so close to it and lose to a narrow decision, it surely must have started another fire inside of you.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get straight back on the horse and get another big fight. I mean, there was talks of fights, but then obviously the rematch was the thing I wanted most. But there was all talks of Callum getting the Canelo fight, and I mean, to be fair, that does trump any kind of rematch. But when the Billy Joe fight got announced, I did see the potential of a rematch coming. But obviously now with having the coronavirus over here and the restrictions, I still think it's a great possibility that it could happen because I think restrictions will be in place for a while. I mean, I've obviously put my name in the hat for the Canelo fight, and that's, like I say, I want the biggest and best fights out there for me. I want to right all the wrongs of my career, and if it's not a Canelo fight, then I want to be looking to rematch the likes of Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah, it talks obviously about that Canelo fight, and we'll touch on it. But what intrigued me the most is, as they're saying, you're the running leader at some points for that fight, because you've had a chunk of time off, and we've discussed this numerous times on the channel with fighters and people inside of boxing. Would you not want sort of like a warm-up fight just to get your senses right back in there? Because once you take a while off, we've seen it before. There's always cobwebs. Or are you just straight away looking to get into that big fight?
No, yeah, I mean, right away, yeah. I mean, we'll have extended periods of time out the ring, but I've been back in the gym six odd weeks now, maybe 8 weeks, and I've been doing bits of sparring, helping the lads out for their up and coming fights. And I mean, I'm 31 now, coming up for 32, and the thing is with warm up fights is they could always be your last fight. You can get a bad cut, you can get a broken hand, or get an injury. So just got to take the biggest and best fights when they come.
For sure. And again, one more question before we touch on your fight with Canelo. Billy Joe Saunders was still in line to fight Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we knew that he was meant to be fighting May 2nd. And then recently, obviously, he came out and he spoke about the fact that, the issues with the purse or whatever, and also not getting the right amount of time to fight a Canelo fight. As someone who is in boxing as a fighter yourself, do you think it was the right decision for another fighter in Billy Joe Saunders to sort of miss out on a career high payday and the biggest fight for a legacy as well? Do you think it was
Well,
wrong?
yeah, I do, because he's going into this fight as the world champion. I mean, he's taking the WBO title into. I know Canelo as a WBA regular, and I mean, when there's always that talk of when there's a super title around, if the regular counts. And listen, Canelo's a world champion in his own right, so let's give him the credit it deserves. But no, I think in Billy Joe, he's had probably a lot of time out of the ring, and if you can't get access to a boxing gym, then it's hard. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, we're all in the same boat. The gyms have been closed, but if he's not been on top of his running and stuff, then he's making the right decision. He is the world champion, and he should go in fully prepared and ready to defend his crown. And I mean, if they're toying with the chance of dropping his purse, I mean, he spent a long time negotiating to get what he deserved. And if they're going to try and pull the carpet from underneath him, then I think he's right to stick to his guns and not fight.
For sure. So let's move on. For you, how did this the talk of the Canelo fight come around, and where we are at the moment?
Well, I mean, I was just sat at home on the sofa, and the trainer Tony Sims texted me and said, like, Billy Joe's not fighting Canelo now. Like, tweet him, put your name in the hat. So I did that. Tried to keep things respectful, and I mean, you got to give Canelo the credit he deserves. He's a great fighter, but I mean, I want to fight the best in this sport, and Canelo is that. So if I can talk it up and get myself in there, then job done.
They're saying I can't remember who it was, but someone did mention that you are the front leader for it. Where are we standing? What's going on, like right now?
Well, I don't know. I know Eddie made contact with Golden Boy, stating my availability and putting a figure out there. So, I mean, as far as I know, that's where we're at. But I mean, I've seen comments from Golden Boy officials saying that more likely to go for an American as of travel restrictions in place. But I mean, hopefully, if things like that can be lifted in the coming days and weeks, then hopefully I can still be at the top of the list and get the call.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well. Obviously, we got the travel restrictions, but say if you know, I don't know how you play with the crowd, but for sure in Liverpool when you were pouring on the pressure, I'm sure that added a lot to your fire that night because. In all fairness and in all due respect, people did underlook you. And when you did come in there and started backing Callum up, the crowd started pumping you on a little bit. For a fight like this, say if it wasn't, you won't be able to take hundreds and thousands of fans over to America because of the travel restrictions. And a lot of people wouldn't want to go. Does that ever play in your mind that, you might have to do it, not behind closed doors, I don't think they'd do it, but, in a smaller crowd, more Canelo favored crowd? Does that bother you at all?
No, not really. I mean, I was lucky enough to be on the undercard last year in Vegas, and I mean, they're Mexicans. They like to see a fight. So as long as you're in there putting it all online, then they're happy. I mean, if there's a break in the fight, then that's when they start booing. But as long as you're going at each other, trying to take each other's heads off and tear lumps at each other, they'll be cheering whether you're English or Mexican. They really don't care.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. To be fair, they do love a fight, don't they? So sure they'll back you.
Massively.
Style-wise, this is the one I can't break down in my head. Canelo's for different people, different styles. But from what I can remember, and like in recent times anyway, I don't think he's fought a style like yours. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, he has fought, more tall, rangy southpaws in the likes of like Austin Trout and there was Andy Lara. But I thought Lara probably beat him. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like I say, take nothing away from Canelo. He's a great fighter and he always seems to find a way. But yeah, I mean, I'm used to being the smaller guy in the ring on come fight night. But I think I might be slightly taller than Canelo. So if it comes off, I mean, that'll be something to get used to as well.
What kind of targets do you see in Canelo, or weaknesses that you may have already looked at? Not in depth, because I'm sure obviously the fight's not been confirmed or anything. But from afar, I'm sure when a fighter gets told that you could fight that fight, you look at a fighter and think, all right, what could I do here to win this fight if I did take it? What was your initial reaction to that?
I just think you got to be able to move well and defend well. I mean, a lot of people they let Canelo back them up and bully them, and they're trying to circle and. They almost become like the prey, and like he's hunting them down. They almost fall victim. I think with him, you've got to be very comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. I mean, when he's backing you up and putting you under pressure, you've got to find comfort in that and keep your game plan, keep your shape, keep your hands held high, keep your stance, keep rolling, keep the shoulders tight, keep the chin down, and just ride the storm and do what he does to other fighters. Catch counter. I mean, back people up, move, slip off, roll, pivot. I mean, just use all the things he uses in his game against him.
Yeah, Uno caught him basically. Yeah, well, you could say that. That would be pretty interesting. Well, I for one hope you do get the fight. I think it'd be great to see a Brit, not only just because you're a Brit, but your performance against Callum Smith impressed everyone in the boxing world. And it's definitely deserved for you to get that fight. So hopefully that falls through, and you can get it. Now, secondly, though, if that doesn't happen, what's the sort of comeback plan after lockdown for you if it doesn't fall through?
Well, I mean, there is at the moment. There's no real plan B. I mean, we're put all our cards on the table for that. But I mean, like I say, the likes of I want the biggest and the best, and I either want the rematch with Callum or Billy Joe, or I have mentioned the Danny Jacobs fight. He's up at 168 now, and he's saying that I think he stated that he doesn't want to fight a champion next. He wants to fight a contender. And I mean, what better than me and him fighting in, say, like an eliminator or a final eliminator to fight one of the champions if I can't get a direct shot?
That's an interesting fight as well. That is really interesting. I saw the Danny Jacob fights against Derevyanchenko, and although he did good in that, I not the same, but between you and Derevyanchenko, there's that aggressive style that you bring. So that would be pretty good, you against Danny Jacobs, stylistically.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think Derevyanchenko's a good fighter. We see him push Golovkin, and I mean, he's there to win, and he's there to try and take your head off. So he's been unfortunate so far that he's come up against good talents, but I'm sure his time will come. I mean, I know he's looking at Charlo next, so he's another man that's not scared to fight.
For sure. Awesome. All right, John, I appreciate your time as always. Any final words to the fans watching?
No, just thank you. Just keep supporting. I hope I get this fight and take a big fight to Vegas. Hopefully, if it does happen, we can get some fans out there and make a good show of it.
John Ryder's Barney Army all over to Vegas. That would be pretty fun.
That's it. Fingers crossed.
Awesome. All right, cool.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. And we also have a free app available on iTunes and Google Play, so make sure you go and download that. Bye Fight fans.